Today we're going to visit the ancient Puebloan site, House of Fire. This site was occupied 900 to 1,000 years ago and is located in Utah's Mule Canyon. This site is famous for the sunlight reflecting off the roof and the flooring, causing it to look like there's flames and smoke rising from the buildings themselves. So I'm going to start off here today at Mule Canyon. We're going to go to the House of Fire. It really looks pretty inside there. There's a couple of cars here, so obviously a well-known, easily accessible site. But it should be worth the trip. We spend a little bit of time down there. Just kind of pulls off here, and there's the way we start. Benchmark 1958. I wonder how that works in a horizontal position. There you go. Look, don't loot. All right, so we got to sign in. What's today? 10th? Oh, I didn't sign out. So already this is a prettier hike. Down amongst the trees, big cottonwoods. There's a seasonal running dry creek down there. When you get tired of walking up one side of the creek and down the other side of the creek and then back up the other side to go 20 feet, you're gonna go, well, I'm just gonna stay down in the ditch, in the waterway. And then the trail says, yeah, that seems like a good idea. And it stays down in the waterway with you. This is the second or third really deep pool. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but that one right there is kind of neat. Water comes down and swirls. Really gets deep through there. But the trail continues on. I should be getting close. As bad as that sounds, I'm starting to get close then. It's on a south-southwest facing cliff. So hopefully we'll see it here in just a second.
We're waiting for the perfect shot. This guy's just...
Oh, got a certain timeline you're looking for?
Yeah, the shay's got to come a little bit more up here so it reflects off the sun.
Ah.
Did I say that right? Yeah.
Well, I'll follow your research then.
We're all going to be lined up down there in the same spot.
You know, that's probably a true statement. I don't need this on anymore. Hey folks, as it turns out, I'm going to have to do a voiceover on the majority of this. That lady's voice carried and penetrated, and she didn't understand how to keep her voice down or show a little bit of respect to the people that were up there trying to capture the beauty. That and the fact I sound like a pack mule. I don't know where I picked up that canteen sound coming from, but it was pretty bad. So anyways, we're going to do a voiceover and kind of take a look at this as we go along. I'll mention some stuff that I see, but mostly it's going to be just a little background music, and hopefully you guys will see the beauty of what I saw up here at House on Fire. I'm going to walk up here and get a little closer, show you guys the details of these walls and these structures. But as you can see, vast majority of it's original work. They really took some effort to put in some smaller stones to make it structurally sound, pack it with mud. In a lot of places you can see fingerprints, which is pretty exciting. It always is to me. The details in here are spectacular. That's all I can say. You can see the fingerprints here. The little spacer rocks in here, were they for structural support, or were they to add a little bit of beauty to the outside of the structure? This is going to be our first look inside an actual living section of the pueblo here, and you can see the soot blackening on the roof. The wear on the inside of the walls, incredibly beautiful. I'm going to try to add a little bit of light here, see how that makes it look. Nope, probably not. I think we're going to spend a couple seconds and then go back to some low light. But I saw something in this dwelling I've not seen anywhere else. And this is right down here. They actually built up a section here to make it flat for sitting, for sleeping, for storage or something. But this section here is built up. There you go. We're going to turn off the light and go back with just a low light setting. But I've never seen that anywhere else. Let me know if you have in the comments. I'd be curious to see where else you've seen that. Here's a better look at that stacked section. You can see where they laid rocks down, mudded it in, trying to make it flat. Let's try this a third time. So this is the outside of a little piece. This one doesn't seem to have any real rock up inside. It seems to be all mud. You can see here where the park rangers blocked in the doorway. At least they tried to make it look nice that you couldn't get in. Pretty original door frame right there. Real nice and straight. When you go inside here, look at that wall. Look how tight that is. A little bit of fire smoke has gotten over into this thing, but I have a feeling this is more of a granary. Well, back to a voiceover. Looks like they butted these walls up to each other. Then they put on another living structure here. Sometime in the past, they brought in some wood and the rangers decided to leave it. Cut in a window for viewing outside, smoke blackening in, nice mud-daubed walls inside. These were probably really comfortable sleeping and living areas. It always amazes me when you see soot blackening in the ceilings that have been there for so long. I believe that window was closed in by park rangers. Why, I'm really not sure, but you can see it was an afterthought. Would have let in good light, that's for certain. You can see why they call it the House of Fire when you look up into it from the bottom up through the top. It just looks like flames coming out of the top of the structure. It's even more magnificent when the sun hits it. You can see where it gets its name. Once the sun hits back up in here, catches on the rock layers, just gives you the different shades of red, looking like flames. I found this interesting spot on the sandstone where it looks like the Indians had used this area to sharpen knives or either arrowheads, a metal implement of some type. I found these on castle walls over in Europe, particularly in Wales. But I thought it was kind of interesting. This is the first time I've seen it here in a pueblo situation. So why do you think they put a step on the outside here? This was the opening that the rangers closed in from the other side. So here's a picture of what it looked like on the inside, but there's a step leading up to it from the outside. Here's another dwelling unit. I'm going to go ahead and switch to low light so we can get a better look at it. But look at the amount of soot blackening on this ceiling in here. Smaller people than me must have lived in these units, but man, there a lot of fires. Let's get up real close into this corner here, and you can see the fingerprints from where they had initially daubed it in. It always amazes me to be in these sites that are so well preserved. It's just beautiful. This doorway here is amazing. You can see the wood up at the top still, and it goes all the way down to the bottom, over, and then all the way back up. Somebody's been closing it in, but if you look at it, it looks like a B. And they left the center open there so we can get in and take a look at it. This is a really super unique doorway here. And the wood being exposed across like that always fascinates me to see something like that, knowing that it's 1,000, 1,500 years old.
You failed us! No!
My God, I wish she would shut her yap. This is what the House of Fire looks like. You can see how it gets its name. Quite extensive structures here in really fine shape. The Rangers actually did a job that I appreciate. They closed up the doorways so that you couldn't get into them, but left the access that you could actually peek in, which is kind of nice. We got rid of that loud lady. But other than that, met some nice people up here. But look at this behind me, isn't it just gorgeous? I'm gonna hang out here, see what I can find, see if there's some handprints. Let's go see if I can find those. They say there's a spot where you can find 4 red handprints located above you on the rocks. They say they're located just to the side of the pueblo, up high, so you actually pass underneath them. I think we're getting close. Let me turn around and take a look again. There they are. They're above our head. They're right there. They must have stood on that rock there left their handprints. 2 lefts, 2 rights. I'm going to say there was 2 people involved in doing this. Pretty cool find. Well, it's a little bit later in the day. Crowds are showing up and getting thick. That's kind of what you get though when you have a public area, I suppose. But it was a good hike, well worth it. The ruins are in great condition. And I would say it's probably 90-95% original up there. So if you guys get a chance, I would recommend it. If you head down the valley that way, they said there's 3.5 miles. Bring a good set of binoculars and you can see probably 8, 9, 10 more structures down that way. I didn't bring my binoculars, and really doesn't show up as well on the videos without the drone to get up there. Well, I'm going to head back to the vehicle. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning, just after. Hope you guys had much enjoyment out of this site as I did. Thanks for traveling along with me, and as always, be safe. One more little voiceover here. I'm going to try to show a progression when you first get in there in the morning, what it looks like. The colors you can see are there, but they're just not quite popping until the afternoon when the sun starts reflecting into them. As soon as it starts reflecting into them, you'll start seeing the color changes, and you'll understand why they call it House of Fire. I may have got a little carried away with these last set of pictures, but I personally think they're well worth watching. It's a beautiful sight, the colors are there, and you can just imagine what this would look and sound like 1,000 years ago. Hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. Thanks for the travels. Be safe.